Imagine a careless mother who forgets a toddler by the pool while dancing on TikTok. What will be the fate of this poor child? Watch this intriguing story to find out and learn. Clara was the talk of the neighborhood in Festick. She had flawless skin, a captivating smile, and long black hair that fell down her back. But more than her beauty, it was her obsession with social media that people noticed the most. Clara lived for TikTok and Instagram. She spent hours crafting the perfect content. Her motto was simple: fake it till you make it. Every day, she borrowed clothes from friends, expensive shoes from her cousin, and even posed in front of cars that weren't hers, just for that one perfect post. She wanted to look like someone who had made it, even if her real life was far from that. Her mother, Mama Hannah, had been watching her daughter's growing obsession. One evening, as Clara was getting ready to go out and take more pictures, Mama M called her. "My daughter," she began softly but firmly. "I'm not saying you shouldn't be on social media, but the way you're going about it is not right. You lie too much, and you live a fake life. That's not how your father and I raised you." Clara sighed, already annoyed. "Mama, I'm not a kid anymore. I have the right to do whatever I like. And in this business, you need to fake it till you make it. How will people trust your brand if you don't give them what they want to see? Appearance is everything. No one cares about the truth. They care about what looks good." Mama Hannah shook her head, her heart heavy. "That's not the way, my daughter. What if they find out you're lying? Will they still trust you? Try to do something real with your life while you're still young. Because this path, is not it." Clara rolled her eyes and brushed off her mother's words. She believed that just one viral video or perfect post could change her life. A few days later, she was posing outside a fancy restaurant in a borrowed designer gown and heels when she spotted a sleek black car. It was the perfect backdrop. Clara quickly rushed to it and began posing like it was hers, instructing her friend to take pictures. She didn't have a care in the world until a tall, handsome man with a confident smile walked up to her. "Excuse me," he said politely. "That car you're posing with, it's mine, and I really need to go now." Clara froze. Her face turned red as she realized she'd been caught. She didn't know whether to run or say sorry. But instead of being angry, the man chuckled. "My name's Ethan," he said, offering his hand. "Clara," she replied nervously, her heart pounding. That day, they exchanged contacts. After a few weeks of chatting and texting, they grew close. A few months later, Ethan proposed to Clara. She was over the moon. She couldn't stop showing off her engagement ring. "Hi, guys. My man just proposed, and I said yes. I'm so happy. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with my best friend," she gushed online. News of the engagement reached Ethan's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Lewis. They weren't happy. "Son, I know you're an adult, but we think you're making a big mistake marrying that girl," Mrs. Lewis said, concern written all over her face. "She's always online dancing. How can someone like that make a good wife or raise good children?" "Mom, relax. You don't know Clara like I do," Ethan replied. "She's not all about social media. She has a good heart, too." "Good heart?" Mr. Lewis scoffed. "There's nothing to write home about her. You should rethink this, son." But Ethan didn't listen. He was in love with Clara. He believed she would change once they got married. His friends also tried to talk to him, but he ignored them. After months of insisting, his family finally gave in. They got married. The wedding was everywhere on social media. Clara couldn't stop smiling. She posted photos of them together every chance she got. She had everything she dreamed of: a rich, handsome husband, a beautiful home, and a perfect online life. Or so it seemed. Just after their marriage, things were going well for Clara and Ethan. Clara's social media pages began to grow fast. Her follower count increased quickly, and that meant she had to post more and stay active online. She spent longer hours on her phone, creating content. Ethan didn't mind at first. He was still enjoying the excitement of being newly married. But after a few months, he started to feel tired of the same routine. It felt like their life was being lived for strangers on the internet. Ethan had always dreamed of a quiet, peaceful home, a place to raise children. But life with Clara was nothing like that. Things began to go downhill when Clara got even busier with her content. She started neglecting the house and Ethan's needs. Whenever he tried to talk to her about it, she would brush him off. "If you want the house clean, get a maid," she would say. One day, Ethan came home from work after a long, stressful day. All he wanted was a warm meal and a cold shower. But what he found shocked him. Clara was dancing live on TikTok in the middle of the living room. Clothes, shoes, and makeup were scattered everywhere. It looked like a storm had passed through. Ethan was angry, but he stayed calm. He didn't want to ruin her live stream. He carefully moved past the camera and went into the kitchen to find something to eat. But what he saw in the kitchen nearly made him lose his mind. The sink was full of dirty plates and pots from the night before. A terrible smell filled the air. He opened the pot on the stove. Empty. No food. Clara hadn't cooked. She had been too busy with her live stream. That evening, Ethan couldn't hold it in anymore. "I've had enough of this social media madness," he said. "I've never stopped you from doing your content, but this is too much. You're neglecting the house. What if I brought my friends home and they saw you dancing in the middle of this mess? This is not what I signed up for." Clara fired back immediately. "Oh, but it is what you signed up for. You knew I was a content creator before you married me. I'm an influencer, Ethan. You can't expect me to be doing dishes and sweating in the kitchen. If you want a clean home, hire a maid." They argued for hours. Clara packed her clothes into a suitcase and threatened to leave. Ethan was shocked by her reaction. He quickly stopped her and apologized for raising his voice. He loved her and didn't want to lose her. A few months later, Clara became pregnant. Ethan was overjoyed. He believed this was a second chance, a fresh start. He hoped that with a baby on the way, Clara would become more focused on the home and their family. For a few weeks, she reduced her social media activities. That made Ethan happy. He thought she was finally changing. But it didn't last. Soon, Clara returned to creating content, this time with more energy than ever. She posted videos with hashtags like #JustLikeINeverLeft, #PregnancyJourney, and #Motherhood in a Beat. She danced every day with a baby bump and kept ignoring Ethan's advice to rest. Whenever he tried to talk to her, Clara got angry. She would pack her bag and leave the house to stay with her friends. Ethan always had to go and beg her to come back. Months later, Clara gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. They named him Ethan Jr. For a little while, their home felt whole. The joy of becoming parents brought peace. The fighting stopped, and they both focused on their new baby. But that peace didn't last long. Clara couldn't stay away from her followers. She went right back to TikTok and Instagram, sometimes forgetting to care for the baby. Ethan tried talking to her again, but nothing changed. Then came the worst day. Ethan came home to find their son crying in his crib. His diaper was soaked, and he was clearly hungry, but Clara was nowhere in sight. He searched every room, but she wasn't home. With tears in his eyes, Ethan picked up his son, changed his diaper, and fed him. The baby finally stopped crying and fell asleep. Ethan stood over his son, watching him sleep. His heart felt heavy. "I'm sorry, son," he whispered. "I should have chosen a better mother for you. My parents were right. She's never going to change." Hours later, Clara walked into the house without a single care in the world. Ethan glared at her, his face filled with anger. "Where have you been, Clara? Did you forget you're a mother now? How could you leave a baby alone like that?" he yelled. "Calm down. Honey, he was sleeping when I left, and I didn't go far. I was just shooting a video by the pool." "It's not that deep," Clara replied casually. Ethan was shocked by her response. He was tired of arguing. His words didn't seem to matter anymore. A few days later, Ethan hired a nanny to care for Junior since Clara was always busy creating content. For a while, things went smoothly. The house was quiet, and there was peace. But that peace didn't last. One day, the nanny told Clara she was going to the supermarket to get baby formula. "Ma, please, I want to quickly go to the supermarket to get some supplies for Junior. I'll be back in an hour. Help me watch him," the nanny said. "What do you mean? He's my son. I'll take care of him." "You can go," Clara replied. Shortly after the nanny left, Junior fell asleep in Clara's arms. She carefully laid him on a baby bed in the living room. As he slept, she smiled, gently stroking his head. But soon, Clara became bored. She was alone in the house, and her baby was sleeping. She decided to use a moment to shoot a quick TikTok video by the pool before Junior woke up. She quietly left him in the living room and went outside. She set up her ring light and started recording content. But she got carried away. Before long, she was live streaming and dancing, lost in her own world. She didn't know that Junior had woken up to the sound of music and crawled out, looking for her. Clara didn't notice him crawling toward the pool, toward the water. That day, Ethan came home from work earlier than usual. When he entered the house, he couldn't find anyone. He was about to go upstairs to check Junior's room when he heard music coming from the pool area. He decided to see what Clara was doing now. When he got there, the sight nearly knocked the air out of his lungs. Junior was in the pool, struggling to breathe, his tiny hands and feet splashing weakly as he fought to stay afloat, while his mother was busy twerking to a TikTok song. Ethan jumped into pool and pulled his son out. He tried to resuscitate him, but the child wasn't responding. Clara, finally noticing the chaos, ran toward them, screaming in fear. But Ethan pushed her away and rushed Junior to the hospital. Clara was distraught. Her world crashed around her. Her son had nearly drowned because of her carelessness. "What have I done?" she cried, shaking as she picked up a phone. She called her parents, told them what had happened, and they rushed over to the house. "I told you the social media thing would bring more harm than good," Mama Clara said through tears. "But you didn't listen. How could you be so careless?" Clara sat on the living room floor, crying and praying for good news. Hours later, Ethan returned home with tears in his eyes. "Clara, you are evil. I regret the day I met you. Pack your things and leave this house. This marriage is over," he said coldly. "Honey, please, what happened to our son?" Clara asked, sobbing. "You killed him, Clara. The doctor said we brought him in too late," Ethan said, voice shaking. Clara collapsed to the floor, wailing. The weight of her actions hit her like a rock. She had lost sight of what truly mattered, and now her son was gone. That evening, Ethan threw all her things outside with pain in his heart. Clara went home with her parents. She cried day and night, unable to eat or sleep. Guilt tore her apart from the inside. Her parents tried to comfort her, but the pain was too deep. One day, as she lay crying on the floor, her mother came into the room and said, "Ethan is looking for you." "Why, Mama? Has he come to finish me off for what happened to our son?" "Tell him I'm sorry," Clara replied, barely able to speak. "You can tell him yourself," her mother said gently. "And someone else is here to see you too." "Who could that be?" Clara whispered. With all her strength, she dragged herself off the floor and went to the living room. What she saw left her in shock. Her baby boy, Junior, was alive. He was kicking and playing. "But how?" "I thought he didn't make it," Clara said, tears pouring down her face. "You needed to know what matters most, your family or your social media," Ethan said. "I hope now you know the answer. Junior was resuscitated right after we arrived at the hospital. The doctor said we were lucky. One more minute and he wouldn't have made it. I'm not going to lie. I'm still angry. But Junior needs his mother. That's if you still want to be one." Yes, I'm sorry," Clara cried. "I promise I will never neglect you or our son again. I've learned my lesson. I'll never lose sight of what matters most." She fell to her knees, begging her husband. She vowed to change and become a better wife and mother. Her parents stood by, watching with tears in their eyes. Clara had been through a lot. They could only hope this experience would truly change her. Ethan took his family back home that day, with hope in his heart. Months passed, and Clara changed. She became more responsible. She never neglected her family again for the sake of social media fame. She still created content, but now she knew where to draw the line between the online world and real life. Moral of the story: chasing online fame at the cost of real-life responsibilities can lead to deep regret and irreversible consequences. True success lies in knowing what matters most: family, love, and being present in the lives of those who need us. Social media may bring attention, but it should never replace real human connection. Balance is key, and no amount of followers is worth losing the people that matters you. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I'll be back soon with another exciting and juicy story. Bye for now.